Hi, welcome to the next session of Bioorganic and Medicinal Chemistry. This session will include remarkable properties of enzymes, extraction and purification of enzymes, Fisher's lock and key hypothesis, and Koshland's induced fit hypothesis. Now, extraction and purification of enzymes. In the extraction and purification of enzymes, availability and cost of starting material is of prime importance. Due to this reason, yeast, bacteria, and fungi have certain advantages as source materials. Advantages is that these cells may be cultivated under conditions favorable for the production of enzymes in questions. However, there is one disadvantage of difficulty in obtaining large quantities of microbial cells other than yeast. Extraction. The acetone powder is, by the virtue of its fat free nature, often the easiest material from which enzymes can be extracted. Methods of removing enzymes from microorganisms includes autolysis, lysozyme digestion, grinding, freezing and thawing, sonic disintegration, shaking with solvent, shaking with fine glass beads, and finally explosion by sudden release by pressure. Salt fractionation. Ammonium sulfate is most useful salt in enzyme fractionation. Its advantages are high solubility in water and a roughly neutral reaction in concentrated solution. One disadvantage in use of ammonium sulfate, a slightly alkaline solution, is that even at pH 9.3, 50% of ammonium ions are converted into ammonia. The pH of ammonium sulfate solution should be controlled by means of a buffer. Solvent fractionation. In acetone extraction, one should start below 0 degree centigrade and then proceed towards higher temperature. Fractionation is done up to higher temperature that will not cause much yield loss because acetone absorbs strongly in ultraviolet region. It must be completely removed by dialysis or by distillation under reduced pressure before the product is subjected to spectral analysis. Adsorption. A variety of substances have been used as protein adsorbent. Calcium phosphate gel has also proved very useful and bentonite has been employed in the isolation of lysozymes. Adsorption chromatography. Column chromatography on adsorbent is very effective for the separation of proteins and hence for enzymes also. Ion exchange chromatography. The brilliant success of this method is the isolation of low molecular weight compounds such as amino acids. Complex formation. In this procedure, protamine has been used to a lesser extent as complexing agent. Some enzymes, example muscle lactic dehydrogenase, were isolated as the inactive mercury salts. Reactivation was achieved by dialysis against cysteine or potassium cyanide. Basic lead acetate has been employed to throw down undesired proteins. Denaturation reaction. This method is successful in the crystallization of alcohol dehydrogenase from yeast. Denaturation with trichloroacetic acid is used in the isolation of cytochrome C. Shaking with chloroform is a very effective way to remove contaminating proteins. Purification. The method consists of contacting a crude enzyme preparation with a solid support to which is attached a reversible inhibitor or some other type of molecule which will selectively and reversibly bind with the enzyme of interest. With the enzymes bound to immobilized inhibitors, the support inhibitor enzyme complex is separated from the initial crude feed and the purified enzyme eluted from the support inhibitor portion. However, development needs to be done in scaling up these methods. In purification, precipitation reactions are also useful. In a method, antigen antibody reaction is carried out in a gel such as agar. The compounds are visible as precipitated zone in gel. Remarkable properties of enzymes. Specificity. Enzymes are reaction specific. That is, for a particular reaction, a particular enzyme is needed. Example: for hydrolysis, hydroxylase catalyzes the reaction. Lysis remove group from substrate by mechanism other than hydrolysis, leaving double bonds. Ligases link together two compounds. They catalyze reaction forming carbon oxygen bond, carbon sulfur bond, carbon nitrogen bond, and carbon carbon bonds. Transferases transfer a group between a pair of substrate. Many enzymes exhibit kinetic specificity. Example: esterase, although hydrolyzes all esters but hydrolyzes different esters at different rates. Many enzymes are stereospecific. Example: maltose hydrolyzes alpha glycosides but not beta glycosides. There are four important factors for the specificity of enzymes. First, chemical apparatus. At the active center, chemical apparatus is needed that can polarize the bonds of substrate. Second, binding site. Binding site can immobilize the substrate in correct geometry relative to other reactive groups. Third, correct orientation of substrate. Correct orientation of substrate permits each step of the reaction to proceed with minimal translational or rotational movement about the bond of substrate. Fourth, mode of fixation of substrate. Mode of fixation of substrate should lower the energy of activation of enzyme substrate complex. These all factors act simultaneously on the active site of enzyme and accelerate the rate of enzymatic reaction and permit the enzyme to act as powerful catalyst. Catalytic power. Enzymes catalyze rate of biological process at extremely faster rates. Since enzymes are proteins, the pH changes affect the ionic character of the amino acid and carboxylic acid group of the protein, that affecting the catalytic site and conformation of the enzyme. pH changes can cause considerable denaturation, that means unfolding of the enzyme, leading to the inactivation of the enzyme protein. From this figure, it is clear that the activity of an enzyme and the reaction rate passes through a maximum at a pH 7. Thus, a bell-shaped curve is obtained. It has a relatively small plateau and sharply decreasing rate on either side. The plateau is called the optimal pH point. Like chemical catalyst, the enzyme catalyst also decreases the activation energy of a reaction at a given temperature. In fact, the decrease of the activation energy by an enzyme catalyst is far greater than that by a non-enzyme catalyst. Hence, the rate of a reaction generally increases with an increase in temperature. This condition would be highly unfavorable for a living cell, as shown in figure. From the figure, it is clear that up to about 45 degrees centigrade, the reaction rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction increases with temperature. At temperatures greater than 45 degrees centigrade, thermal denaturation of the enzyme becomes increasingly significant. At about 55 degrees centigrade, rapid denaturation completely destroys the catalytic function of the enzyme protein. Regulation. The following two factors have an important influence on enzyme activity. First, substrate concentration. The concentration of substrate affects the rate of the enzyme catalyzed reaction, as shown in figure. From the above figure, it is clear that at low substrate concentration, most of these active sites remain unoccupied at any time. As the substrate concentration is increased, the number of active sites which are occupied increases, and hence the reaction rate also increases. However, at very high substrate concentration, all the active sites are occupied at any time, so that further increase in substrate concentration cannot further increase the formation of enzyme substrate complex. Enzyme concentration. The concentration of enzyme also affects the rate of the enzyme catalyzed reaction, as shown in figure. From the above figure, it is clear that if an excess substrate is present, by doubling the enzyme concentration usually doubles the rate of formation of end products. This generally applies at the start of the reaction, as the product of the reaction often have an inhibitory effect on enzyme and decrease its efficiency. As the concentration of enzyme is increased, then a point is reached where substrate is saturated with enzyme in the form of enzyme substrate complex. When this point is reached, further increase in enzyme concentration have no influence on the rate of formation of end product. Fisher's lock and key hypothesis. According to Arrhenius, enzymes catalyze the reaction through the formation of unstable intermediate. Simplest model to explain enzymatic action is lock and key model proposed by Fischer. The mechanism of such reaction can be explained in two steps. In the first step, the enzyme enters into a chemical combination with the substrate to form an enzyme substrate complex. In the second step, the enzyme substrate complex then breaks down to give the products of reaction. The enzyme is released and can be used over and over again. Figure shows that an enzyme molecule is very large, but active sites which combine with substrate have definite shape in which substrate can fix are comparatively small. Amino acids of active sites are located at different places in the chain, whereas other amino acids which are not part of active sites are located in a definite sequence. This is because of the fact that this sequence allows the whole enzyme molecule to fold in exactly required manner. Koshland's induced fit hypothesis. This model was given by Koshland in 1966. In the Fisher's model, that is lock and key model, the active site is presumed to be pre-shaped to fit the substrate. But in the induced fit theory, the substrate induces a conformational changes in the enzyme, as shown in figure. This figure shows that in the absence of substrate, the catalytic and the substrate binding groups are several bond distance removed from one another. When the substrate approaches, there occurs a conformational change in the enzyme protein, aligning the group correctly for substrate binding and for catalysis. At the same time, there also occurs a change in the spatial orientation of the other region. The main evidence in favor of induced fit model comes from demonstration of conformational changes during substrate binding and catalysis with other enzymes. Up to this time, the exact sequence of events in a substrate induced conformational change has not been established. There may be several possibilities as shown in figure. Even if one knows the complete primary structure of enzyme, it is not very easy to decide exactly which residue exactly constitute catalytic site. I hope that you will like this session. Thank you. The next part of session will contain enzyme kinetics and mechanism of enzyme action.